Hello there and welcome back to the channel. This is Mel's Gaming here with another The Hunter Call of the Wild video. Now today's video is going to be a selection of highlight clips from the past few days, and I've got to say I am sorry for the lack of recent Call of the Wild content due to the Axis deer being added into the Hunter Classic, but this is now going to be a slightly longer video because of that. And we're starting off here from a multiplayer session where I actually spotted a level 3 pheasant. This is just another common level 3, but I'm always happy to take down a potential diamond pheasant. And with the 19 to 22 estimate, I was hoping that this would make it and wouldn't be a troll. I've not had a troll pheasant yet, and I really hope that I won't get one because these are one of my favourite diamonds in the entire game. They just look so good. The commons are probably my favourite feather type next to the grey for the common ones. And yeah, he made diamond at 21.90, so quite a decent sized diamond pheasant. Really only a tiny little bit off max weight because that's 2.97 kg and 3 kg is max. So a very close to max weight one. I do have a max weight one already, but these guys just look so good. They are such a fantastic addition to the lodge. And this moves very nicely onto the second clip, which is actually from my own map. I picked up a 2 to 3 kilo estimate grey pheasant track, and I followed it to this little part of the map I'd never been to, and once I spotted him, he was a level 3. Now, I already had a diamond common and a diamond molting, so the only common feather type diamond I needed for the pheasant was the grey. Now, this little area, it was just insane on my map for some reason. Within only, maybe 100 metres, there is a mule deer feed zone, coyote feed zone, turkey feed zone, antelope jackrabbit feed zone, and of course a pheasant feed zone. And you'll see these turkeys milling around here, and I did actually come back and shoot one of the 9 to 11 estimate level 2s after this, and one of them actually did end up being a level 2 diamond, so that was pretty cool. But basically what I did was I reset the time, reset everything, and ended up coming back to this spot to try and basically get a shot at that grey pheasant. Because he seemed to be one of the ones that would just flee immediately, so I wanted to have the ability to actually be able to stalk in on the zone and then try and get close enough to it before it was going to try and fly away. But you can just see all these tracks and just the huge amount of animals moving around as well in the brush. You can see the coyotes and the turkeys. It's just crazy. I didn't know I had this spot on my map, and now I do. I've started grinding it, and I'm hoping that I might get 1 or 2 more trophies out of here. But a level 3 grey pheasant was exactly what I was hoping this guy would be. I didn't think he was going to be a level 3 because I've picked up a lot of 2 to 3 kilo estimate grey pheasant tracks on multiplayer, and they're always just a level 2. But I managed to spook everything here, basically except that one coyote that was mating calling. And then this little guy just ran out past me, and you can see it says he's fleeing, and immediately he goes into the air rather than going defensive. But that worked really well, and I actually managed to get a really good shot on him that I was quite impressed I actually managed to hit, and dropped him right there. But just look at the feather detail on them. They are just so beautiful. And he is a diamond at 20.70. So now I have a diamond of each of the common feather types for pheasants. So that is a really cool. I was so pleased to get this guy. And moving back to another multiplayer clip from Rancho del Arroyo, running again along this hotspot on the bottom road that runs across sort of the map from left to right. That road is a absolute hotspot of animal activity, and I spotted a couple of coyotes, and in my head thought, oh, how cool would it be if there was a legendary? And there was. Now, this coyote was such a pain. The first shot I took at him, he moved right as I shot and managed to completely dodge the shot because it was a front-on shot, so the slight little bit of movement meant that the shot just whizzed straight past him. Second shot I took, I was led down and he was obscured by grass, but I thought that I could get a shot on him. Turns out there was a rock in front of him, right in front of his vitals, and when I took the shot it just bounced off that rock and he ran again. So this was at this point, me trying to get a third shot on him. I couldn't include the rest of it because it was just such a long process. Legendary coyotes aren't the most common thing to come across. They've become a little bit more common since Rancho, but this is only the third legendary I've seen on this account. The first one was a diamond from Leighton, the second one was that legendary that I actually messed up in the previous video, but that was a troll anyway, and then we had this guy. Now, I was kind of confident that this guy was actually going to make diamond, even though it's not really guaranteed with that 55 to 60 estimate. He was just so flighty. When I initially spotted him, he ran for so long. So I was more confident thinking that he was actually going to make it, because that does seem to be a thing that actual a big animal will do, not just legendaries. You'll find that, well, at least I find it more often, that the animals that are actually big enough to make diamond will be that more cautious, and I definitely noticed the difference between this coyote and the troll coyote in the previous video in terms of how far they ran, but eventually managed to get that chest shot on him, nice vital blood, and he made diamond, 57.10, really nice diamond coyote, 26 kilos, so a good sort of kilo under max weight, but they just look so much better with the new models. They're still not perfect, they should be a bit bigger and stuff like that, but I really like them a lot more since Rancho, and I also find them a lot more fun to hunt because they are so small. So, you don't have to worry about them going through quite as much brush as you did on Leighton. But really nice to have one from Rancho now to go alongside the one from Leighton. And another multiplayer Rancho clip here. I was down at the crater, still looking for my albino peccary. I am determined to get one, whether it's from single or multiplayer. And of course, what you do at the crater is you do spook all of the peccaries to be able to spot them as they flee out. And there was a few decent level 4s and, a couple of decent males, and then I spotted this level 5. Now, of course, level 5 is max level for the Peccary, and I'm always really excited to see a level 5. I unfortunately crashed out of a multiplayer session with a level 5 in it the other day. I think it probably would have been a troll because its high estimate was only to 150. So, I don't know, I just feel like that one was going to be a troll. But unfortunately, I crashed before I ever got to find out. However, this one I actually did manage to take down, so that's why this guy is in the video. However, what you have to do basically once you have spooked them out of the crater is they won't run very far. They're a very small animal with very short little legs and they really can't run very fast. So I just waited for him to come round this little bit of sort of like mound of earth that's on the edge of the crater. They normally do, and you can see some already going nervous here, which that's where they normally go nervous, but of course him being a level 5 he was going to flee just a little bit further than the rest. Again, that's something that you will notice with the higher level animals as you play this game. But I knew that he should stop somewhere in sight, and again, they're not going to run sort of 300 metres. Of course, he did go alert, which is what they will do, and so I just waited until I could get a shot I was happy with. You can see the way that they sort of glitch around a little bit on the edge of the crater sometimes, so I was waiting until I was a little bit more confident with my shot. Now, I took that shot and it felt okay, but not great. And walking up to him, we're going to see what actually happened with that shot. So I saw the vital blood on the side of the crater, which kind of was a relief. I felt like I might have messed this guy up because he didn't die instantly, which they normally do. But picking him up, he was a diamond at 148.10. And then I looked at the hit. Flesh, stomach, intestines, and liver. The only reason I got the diamond out of this guy was because I hit that liver. Now, that is a lot. Well, that is not a shot I am proud of, and it is a lucky shot more than anything. He just took that one step a little bit further forward. I should have anticipated for it. But unfortunately, things like that do happen, but I still got the diamond out of him. So, really, really nice to add to the trophy lodge. Now, the next clip is not from Rancho del Arroyo. The rest of these clips are going to be from other maps. So this first one is from Te Awawara, and it was Seeker Deer drink time. And I spotted a huge set of antlers over here on the riverbank, and I knew immediately before even spotting it that it was a level 5. 197 to 239 on the estimate. A really impressive sight. These guys just always look so good. I love finding diamond Seeker Deer. They are just awesome. Having such huge antlers in comparison to the body side just makes them look so much more impressive. And this kite actually died in the water, so he was floating around as I went to go and pick him up. Again, it's one of the fur types I already have. It is the black fur type. But at 200.40, he is another diamond Seeker Deer. And as I've mentioned before, I like getting these guys as diamonds because they can go on those small plaques. So they can, be trees to fill up the spaces that normally would be taken by ducks and rabbits. So I'm always really happy to get one of these guys, and actually managed to double lung and heart shot him. So a much better shot in comparison to the shot from the previous clip. Now, this next clip is from Yukon Valley multiplayer, and the very first set of tracks I picked up in this session was those of a female melanistic grizzly. Now, I have been looking through grizzly populations on various different multiplayer servers, hoping to find an albino. However, I will never turn down taking a melanistic. They are a rare, and I really like getting grizzly bear rares because they are so big. Now, there was two females here drinking side by side. You can see that the one that's closer to me is definitely the common, and this one here that's behind the tree is noticeably darker, and that, of course, is the melanistic. Now, unfortunately, that tree being there was really annoying, because if that hadn't been there, I could have taken this shot a lot more easily. So I was moving around trying to see if I could try and line something up to go through those branches, and then she turned to face forwards. So that completely negated that. So basically, I had one option, which was to try and make her go alert so that they would actually move. And just moving out of this brush was enough to make her step forwards and go alert. And she actually stood on her hind legs. So I managed to pop her there with the 300 in her lungs. And I was a little bit wary that they might go aggressive. So that's why I kind of stepped backwards a little bit there. However, luckily they didn't. And I actually managed to just go over and claim her. It would have been cool if they'd gone aggressive, but at the same time, I don't like to shoot something and not be able to immediately claim it on multiplayer, especially with the crashes that have been happening recently. But there you go, a female melanistic grizzly bear, and actually getting that trophy shot of her stood on her hind legs like that is really cool, because that is one of my favourite positions for the bears in the trophy lodge, just so you can see all the teeth. Just a really, really cool looking animal, and that shot was about perfect really for where I could place it for a broadside shot. Really, really cool animal, and something that's probably going to go in a secondary trophy lodge, as I do have that melanistic male fighting my diamond grizzly, but just still a cool animal nonetheless. And finally, we are now on Parque Fernando with my favourite clip of the entire video. I spotted this melanistic axis deer doe, and I had started to head over here to take her when I noticed something else was in this herd that was particularly of interest to me. And you'll see here I'm spotting through the branches, and you may just be able to see a very, very pale looking buck. That is a level 3 albino buck in the same herd as a melanistic doe. That is literally a perfect pair of rares to have a male of the, one rare and then the female of the other. Just such a cool sight, and this was a completely fresh Parque Fernando server. It was a really low level host that had no drink zones at this lake at all, so that's why I came here, was to look for axis deer and red deer, and this was what greeted me. This is one of the coolest things to me because I love finding rares, and even though axis deer rares aren't extremely rare, I still really like axis deer. You probably can tell that by the fact I've been hunting them so much in Classic, but I really think they're cool. Now, I want you guys to watch very closely as I take this shot on the albino. I completely thought that that was a good shot. I thought that that was double lung and going to drop him. No problem at all. However, when I walked over there was no blood from the albino. There was blood from another one, which I at this point didn't even bother to look for, because I just wanted to get the two rares down for the video, and because I really wanted an albino buck for the trophy lodge. I have a melanistic buck, and this guy was a really good looking albino. I've wanted an albino axis deer buck for so long, and I've just had such bad luck in actually finding them. So what I did was I quickly got into position and waited in their drink zone for the pair of them to come back. I knew I wanted to take the buck first because he was the one that I actually would keep for the trophy lodge, but the doe came in, which was just cool to see a melanistic coming in always, and then I could just see the white of the albino coming through the trees. Now, I've wanted an albino buck for so long, and actually not long before this, I shot another albino doe, which is all I'd been able to find for albino axis deer. So in the trophy lodge, I'd had the melanistic buck next to the albino doe for so long, but this guy was just what I wanted, and he came and stopped perfectly straight on, and he's just such a good looking level 3. Like, that's a really nice level 3 axis deer rack. And this just meant that I could go for a perfect heart shot with the polymer tips. I knew that they'd be able to get through to the heart there on the axis deer, and it dropped him on the spot, which is exactly what I wanted. And then I could see the little melanistic doe fleeing off. Now, I almost was tempted to pop a shot at it, but I decided to just wait until they came back again. So I was led in this spot for like 2 minutes waiting to just take down this pair of rares. And I could hear gunshots from another player who wasn't that far away, which was making me really nervous. And I thought that this doe stopped behind the tree, which is why I moved myself there, thinking that I would need to reposition. But actually, she came around this tree with this buck, and it meant that as soon as I was comfortable, I could get a shot on her broadside, which is exactly what I did here. Now, she was sort of quartering to more than broadside, but no problem at all with the 243 polymer tips. They are fantastic on the axis deer. Now, normally I would cut this so that it's just me going to pick up the pair of them. However, I wanted this to show just how close these were. And also, you might have noticed the blood spot from the other axis deer that I apparently hit. And I have watched that back in slow-mo. I still can't work out why it didn't actually kill the albino, why it hit another one. Maybe some weird glitchy stuff happened on the terrain because of the way that things have been recently. I don't know. But a level 3 silver albino axis deer buck with one of the nicest set of antlers I've seen for a level 3, and perfectly even as well. Just a really good looking small buck. Like, that is just a really, really lovely looking animal. And they're such a cool looking albino with that bright pink nose and bright pink hooves. I really love the albino axis deer. I'm so thrilled to have a buck finally. It would be cool to get a bigger one as well, but just to have a buck finally is awesome. Now, if only in the Hunter Classic one of these guys would pop up, either the buck or the doe, I'd be more than happy to take either, but I was really happy with that heart shot. That was about as perfect as I could have placed it. And it was nice to have a couple of heart shots in this video where I also had that peccary that was a less than ideal shot, just to basically show that it's not every shot that's like that. That was kind of a one-off thing. And just, yeah, to get 2 heart shots in the same video kind of worked out nicely. And it was just funny how this buck just sort of lingered as I went to pick up this melanistic doe. I kind of half wondered if they'd got bugged, but no, they were just being very slow to react. But you can see just how close this doe was from the from the albino buck. And it would have been cool if I could have got them in a picture together, but unfortunately I wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time on it with it being multiplayer because I just wanted to get them down. But a really, really cool sight and something I've been really looking forward to sharing with you guys. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.